Welcome, everybody. I am back, and it's just me trying to figure out what's going on in the world. And the topic of today is the Diddy Trial. that's that's the main thing today. And today's a big day because we have Cassie Ventura on the stand. I've mentioned it on my earlier stream. Just trying to go through and see the updates that are given from her testimony. No cameras are in there, so realistically, we just have to go through and see all these different updates that we get from the reporters that are at the court case in the court right now. And let's just go through some of the highlights, I guess, from Casey's testimony so far. I've covered all of these earlier in my other stream, but we'll just quickly go over it to give a quick recap. Let's see. And I have to say, okay, whoever does these pictures, you know how like every court case they have those pictures that I don't know, the artist, the illustrator does, you know, they kind of go through like different parts of the trial and whatnot. Like, who does these pictures? Some of them are crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see if I can find one for you guys. That I could share. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Here's a crazy one. Boom, boom, boom. This one. Look at this. Look, look at Diddy. Like, he looks crazy. I don't know. That's a pretty interesting job, actually. I feel like to be the courtroom artist. When you have some time, go through some of these pictures. I think some of them are pretty fascinating. But what do we know so far from her testimony? Let's go through. Let's see. I mean, keep in mind, I think one thing that a lot of people need to understand, this is not a domestic violence case. This is a trafficking case, racketeering. Like, they have all these charges on him. And I've mentioned this a few times already. The defense position on this is that this should be a domestic violence case. Like, they're not saying he's not a criminal. I think that's part is actually pretty funny. They're like, he's not a criminal. He is a criminal, just not the other kind of criminal that you're thinking about. They're trying to paint this as this is just a guy who loves baby oil and, you know, likes to do things in his own time. And we can judge him if we want to, but I guess those things are not crimes. I don't know. Let's see, what are the main points of her update that her testimony we want to go through? Okay, let's go back. Let's see. Let me go back. This is like 2 hours ago. I guess I'm gonna go through the highlights. Okay. Let me go back to where I left off because I was going through this and then I took a break because they went on break and then now they're back and I'm trying to play catch up. Okay. But from what I saw before, it didn't seem like she outlined any crimes earlier on. It was just mainly like just I guess interesting things. But maybe she actually like said some more stuff because one of the things that she said earlier on was like, oh, he had so much power over her. She recorded hundreds of songs and she had a 10 album deal. And then we looked it up, you know, like how many albums of this 10 album deal came out, and only 2 of them came out. And I was saying earlier that maybe they weren't that good. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that part of his job to make sure the songs that come out are good? Okay. Let's see. This is 2 hours ago. Ventura says she suffered injuries from the abuse. Let's see. Casey said some arguments would be violent as a result, some sort of physical abuse. He would smash my head, knock me over, drag me, stomp on me when I was down. Ventura said in her relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. Okay. Someone asked her how frequent would the sheer physical with wait, I'm sorry. How frequent was the sheer physical with you during your relationship? That's kind of a weird way to say sheer physical. Too frequent, she says. Let's see. She suffered injuries from the abuse, including knots on her forehead, busted lips, bruises all over her body. Okay. Again, I know it's terrible to hear this, all those things that are happening to her, but like I said, keep saying, I mean, so far, nothing she's outlined goes to the main core of the case of the trafficking and whatnot. Let's see, she was in a relationship for over 10 years with him. Oh, she describes what a freak-off entails. Okay. So the prosecutor asks her and puts up an image of the hotel footage. Okay, we all know about that. Okay, Cassie Ventura says the image showed her leaving after an encounter of what we call a freak-off. Okay, Ventura asks how she and her former boyfriend started doing freak-offs. Okay, within the first year of our relationship, he proposed this idea of this encounter that he would call a voyeurism, where he would watch me with another person, specifically another man. Okay. Ventura went to say that a freak-off would entail hiring an escort, setting up an experience so that I could perform for Sean. Okay, she said she couldn't remember the name of the freak-off came from, but she said that's what Combs introduced it, how Combs introduced it to her. It eventually became a job for me, pretty much. So I knew it was something he wanted me to do. I had the contacts to set it up, get the hotel room, and all of that. But in the beginning, Sean set it up. He was in charge. Interesting. Okay, so that means I find that part kind of interesting. That later on she was in charge of setting it up. But I mean, it kind of goes against what in the first day there was a escort that was interviewed, and he was I believe he's the second witness in the first day. First day was security guard and a escort, and from what he was describing, it sounded like she was in a way in charge. Even though he was a prosecutor witness, I felt like it didn't help their case very much because during his testimony, he said that she was the one that told him to urinate on her. So I don't know. It seemed like she was, from that testimony yesterday, it seemed like in a way she was in charge. So that was pretty interesting of setting everything up. And let's see what else. What else was very interesting? Let's see. She didn't know how to refuse the freak-offs. Okay. I just didn't feel like I had much say in it, she says. Okay. Let's see. Casey recalls on the stand when Sean Diddy Combs first proposed freak-offs to her. She remembers feeling her stomach falling. Okay, get it. I get it. I felt a sense of responsibility. It was him sharing something like that with me. I was confused, nervous, but I also loved him. And I wanted to make him happy. Okay. Okay, so basically she said she didn't know how to refuse the freak-offs. Again, this is what I'm saying. I don't feel like what she said so far this is again a lot of what she's saying just seems like a spat with between couples. I'm trying to get to something that I feel like can that she said that can like actually progress the case forward. Hmm. Okay, she kept broken laptops, iPads, and phones out of fear of material become public. Okay. So she's afraid of this all these things could become public. Hmm. Okay, she also said Sean's a very polarizing person, very charming. So it's very hard to decide for the moment what he was telling, what he wants. Okay. The relationship started platonically. Ooh, how did she meet him? Casey testified she signed a contract with Bad Boy Records. Okay. She said that before she met Combs, she knew he was larger than life, music entrepreneur. Okay, we all know that. Let's see. She said she had a platonic relationship with Combs after she signed with his music label. She said he looked out for her when she had a few rough performances. Okay, then the prosecutor shows the jury of a photo of Ventura and Combs together in 2006, the same year she signed the record label. Again, this goes back to what she was saying before about how she signed a 10 album contract. Now I wondered to myself, like, if she wasn't in the relationship with Puffy, would this 10 album contract come together? Because from what I'm seeing here, she had some rough performances early on in her career. So sorry to say, maybe not. She wasn't the best, but she gets a 10 album contract from Bad Boys. I don't know. Suspicious. Okay, let's see what else. Ventura says she was really confused the first time Combs kissed her. Okay. Casey testifies that Sean Diddy Combs about once a month at a social outings. Wait. Or she saw him once a month. Okay, in social outings in 2006, 2007. While celebrating her 21st birthday in Las Vegas, Combs kissed her in a bathroom. Okay. I was really confused at the time. She said nothing. She was a young, new artist who didn't really know the lay of the land when things came together like that. She testified that she cried and ran off. And then this is when the prosecutor asked, did you want to kiss Sean on your 21st birthday? Then she testifies, no, not on my 21st birthday. Ooh. Okay, so the way she says it like that, though, that leaves room for the defense to kind of come in and be like, did you want to kiss him at some point? Okay, this is a little bit later. Combs calls all the shots in Ventura's career, she says. Well, duh, he owns the record label. Okay, so I mean, that's nothing new. Skip the rest of that. Combs was a fun guy and also happened to be Combs was a fun guy that also happened to have my career in his hands, Ventura says. Okay. Again, that sounds just about right. Okay, Combs had many girlfriends. Okay. Ventura says she was initially enamored by Combs, but eventually saw a different side of him. Okay, Combs' mood swings. Okay, I'm trying to skip through a lot of this now. Okay, she thought she was a one person. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to skip a lot of this. Okay, I think we're catching up now because I remember I was up to the point where they got up to lunch. Okay, now they're back from lunch. Ventura, she said she spent a big chunk of her life recovering from day-long freak-offs. I mean, like I said earlier, we've all been there. We've all gone a little over our limit. And hello, James. How are you doing? Hello, hello, hello. We've all been there, and we've all gone over a limit, drank a little too much, and taken extra days to recover. I don't know what a freak off. I kind of think it's interesting that she's saying a freak off became like a job to her. Um, Interesting. So she said she testified the freak offs could last 36, 48, 72 hours, forcing her to spend big chunks of her life recovering from dehydration and substance use. The freak-offs became a job. There was no space to do anything else but to recover and just to feel normal again. Ventura recalled the longest freak-off continued for 4 or more days with some breaks. Insane. I'm trying to think the longest I've ever gone, uh, like on a, I guess, a big party, you would assume. And I think the longest I've ever gone is maybe like an an all-dayer plus a few hours. So maybe like 30 hours, but a 72-hour party sounds exhausting. I'm like, because after a while, it's the same people, right? Unless there's new people coming in and out, how do you have a party for 72 plus hours? Uh, I want to sleep so bad. After the first like few hours of a party or get together, what do you do? But okay, again, so far nothing from her testimony that I feel like can be used to advance the actual meat of the case itself. She's describing the dynamics of their relationship, like the power dynamics. But on the defense side, I could say that that's normal. He owns the record label. Um, she was an adult at the time. You could say they could say that as well. And so far, like I said, so far, nothing that I could see could actually be used. Like I know the freak offs, the party thing, that's like that gets the headlines. But in terms of like actual moving the case forward, I don't see that that's a big thing. It's like because you can't go to jail for liking to have parties and um, having money, I guess, to have big parties or having multiple girlfriends. So I don't know. I don't see anything big there so far from what she said. The physical abuse stuff, that could be something, but it's not big enough for this case so far. But like I said, maybe there's more to it. Let's see. There's a recap. Here's a recap on what she said in her testimony so far. Early stages of the relationship. Let's see. She knew. Wait, we were in a relationship for over 10 years. Okay. She signed a deal with Bad Boy Records when she was 19. She had her first kiss with him when she was 21 in Las Vegas. She's testified that there's a different side to Diddy. She was initially enamored by him, but then she saw him in a different way. She described him as a fun guy who also happens to have his career in his hands, and he called all the shots. Again, okay. So far, like I said, there's nothing there so far because you know who he is before you met him. Everybody knows who Diddy is. He owns the record label. In a way, like you would want to be in the room with him, I guess, because if you're an up and coming artist, you will want to be in the room with him. Maybe she saw it as a way to advance her career, because I mean, that's an angle that the defense can take. They're like, oh, you put yourself in the position to be in the room with him because he has the influence to move your career. And as I was saying before, she has a 10 album contract with him. And I mean, yeah, they could maybe just say something about they've only released 2 of her albums, that she's got tons of songs, but most likely what they're going to say is the songs were not good. And Bad Boy is not going to push, this album or these songs if they're not good. They could definitely say that. Let's see, what else is part of this recap? Not a monogamous. Oh my gosh, relationship. Okay, Combs had many girlfriends, she said. Adding to their relationship, was not public for years. Later in her testimony, she said she thought they were in a monogamous relationship. Okay, again, nothing wrong with that. Description of the Freakoffs. Within the first year of the relationship, he proposed this idea he called voyeurism. Okay, he would watch me with another man. Okay, again, so far, nothing crazy. Like, I think what we want to hear is, like, explicitly, if she does not do this, this is going to happen. And we haven't gotten that yet. And I think even from the prosecutor's standpoint, that's what they want to come out as well. But she hasn't given that yet. Like I said, that's what they really need, because without that, it just seems like she's just made some bad decisions in her life. And like, you can't go to jail for someone making bad decisions, someone else making bad decisions in their own life or choices. Let's see, actually sees there's some abuse. They had some arguments which become violent as a result. Okay, he would smash my head, drag me around. Okay, we all seen the video. That's a big part of, I guess of this case, is that hotel video. But that is more related to a domestic violence situation. And I could totally see the defense's angle on that, where they're saying like, hey, this case is way bigger than it needs to be, because if this was a domestic violence scenario, none of this would be in court right now. Because I mean, just think about like NFL players or whatever athletes you could think of. This happens all the time with them, and it never gets to this point that we're even talking about it right now. So I could totally see the defense's angle on that, where they're saying like, this is way bigger than it needed to be. If this is your main evidence that you have, is like the hotel tape, her testimony, and whatnot, that's where I'm seeing so far. Okay, she's kept broken devices. Okay, because she didn't want them to be used as blackmail. I don't know. Again, she's keeping it because just at least just what I'm hearing, it's like she's keeping it because she's afraid of being embarrassed of this stuff coming out, or him using it as blackmail. So she kept all the broken phones and laptops or whatever devices that she has. It's not enough. Like I'm telling you, you need like him to, maybe, like I said, maybe it'll come out later. Like, hey, if you don't do this, I'm gonna send it out. The fact that she's saying it like the way that she's saying it, where she's kept the devices and all this evidence because she's afraid that he's gonna use it to blackmail her later, it's not gonna work. Because that's just showing that, oh, you're paranoid that I'm gonna do that. I didn't say that I was gonna do that. I don't know. Okay, what else is going on? Okay, the husband is there. Her husband is there. That's really crazy too. To be the husband of Cassie and to hear all these things going on. That's a like a feeling that I don't know. I don't definitely do not want. let me show you what you guys what the husband looked like, just in case if you guys don't know what he looks like, because I didn't know what the husband looked like until right now either. So let me see. Let me pull up the picture. I just got it. Boop 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 boop. Okay, this is the husband for Cassie right now. Oh my gosh, look at this bodyguard next to him. He's got an interesting cast though with him. He's got like a big bodyguard goon guy, and then he's got looks like an IT nerd to his left. He's got all the bases covered. All the bases. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, analysts. Prosecutors want Ventura's testimony to bridge the gap between Combs' public persona and the indictment. Okay, so I guess that's the plan. They just want to get some background context from her. Because, they're claiming he's a racketeer and a trafficker and that he's a very violent man. So I guess that's what I'm waiting for them to show that. Because so far from her testimony, I haven't seen a lot of that. Yeah, you could see the violenceness, I guess, but the other stuff is a lot of stuff, that you would expect, I guess, from him. I'm not surprised by a lot of this stuff so far. Okay, let's see. Because Combs has pleaded not guilty to the charges of racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, transportation, and to engage in, you know what? If convicted in all counts, he could face life. Okay. Okay, let's see. This is an hour ago. Casey's back on the stand. Guess they took a break. Okay, Ventura's manager said one hand was behind his back. Okay, Ventura's manager had one hand tied behind his back when decisions were going through the Combs. Like I said before, that's his record label, and you're in a relationship with him. And I don't know anyone that's in that position that is not a controlling person. He seems like he's a very controlling person. Okay, appearances are very important to him. My appearance, he said, adding that Combs will make comments about her hair and her nails. Okay, and we had tons of conversations about my body all the time, she testified. Okay, that sounds terrible. But again, I assume that's what is expected. Have you guys ever seen the stuff where, do they still have Victoria's Secret models now? And I think that's something that's kind of gone away a lot over these recent years. But I'm pretty sure you've seen stuff like that where what Victoria's Secret models have to look like, or what they have to eat to maintain their figure. She is a performer, and part of her job is her appearance. So I can totally see if she's signed to the record label, that would be a normal thing. And another thing is, if she's in a public relationship with him, that's a normal thing as well, because in a way, what she looks like is a reflection on him. I'm saying from his point of view, and if she looks not good, that means it shows that he's got bad taste. I don't know. I'm trying to get into the mindset of what he would be thinking. I don't know. Okay, that's about that. But again, nothing crazy there. Ventura says if Combs disapproved of her, his staff would take away her belongings. Okay, that's kind of funny. Okay, let's see. Casey says She testified, if Sean Diddy Combs disapproved of her, he had his staff take away her belongings. I would get my car taken away. I got kicked out of my house, my apartment. I had jewelry taken away. It felt very random depending on how he felt, she said. Ventura said there were times when Combs personally took her electronics from her, and other times when his security personnel did it. She eventually got to get the items back. It depends on how long I was going to be punished for, I guess. Sean would give them back to me if I would go to his house. Okay, interesting. But he did give her, but he did give it back to her. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the defense can come up with something about that. Okay, on her relationship with his assistants. See, the prosecutor asked Casey about several assistants that work for Sean Diddy Combs. Ventura testified in the first 3 years of the relationship with Combs, one of his assistants would regularly help Ventura with her finances. Oh, that sounds nice. Ventura said she spoke with another assistant on a daily basis about everything from scheduling to what kind of mood Combs was in. Let's see. Okay, she knew a lot about my personal things, she said. Okay, that sounds like a great assistant. It kind of reminds me of Iron Man. You know, like the first one with Gwyneth Paltrow, where she like knew everything about Tony. Kind of reminds me of that. I wish I had the money for a personal assistant. That sounds amazing. Yes. All right. All right. Now we're getting really caught up now because I just updated and this like 10 minutes ago. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Where are we now? I'm trying to because I just updated and it like moved everything around. Okay, Ventura said Combs directed every detail, including the lighting. Okay. He's got the vision, guys. Ventura described staying awake for days, at times against her will. Okay, let's see more about this. Ventura described how she would stay awake for days without sleep against her will for the freakoffs that her former boyfriend, Shawnee Diddy Combs, organized. Okay, we knew about this already. She asked how long she could stay awake that long. Ventura said, well, the substances honestly helped. I mean, honestly, there's no way you could stay up that late without a little bit of a boost. Okay. She testified that she would take, let's see, I don't know if I can say these things on here, but you know, the party one and the powder, I'll say that Combs would give her. Okay. Okay, but the thing, again, I'm like saying about this is that the defense can say no one's making her like because it's on the table does not mean that you have to take it. Like the defense can easily say he just offered it and she took it. Or where was it? Was it on the table or did he forcibly like shove it down your throat? Because I'm trying to look at both sides of this as it's going on. Um, let's see. Ventura and said Combs would decide when the freakoffs would end. Hmm. He would tell her at some point in the session, this will be the last one. And she would think, hopefully that would be the last one. I'm trying to think like how crazy it is. In the middle of the party, you're like, is this the last one? No, there's more. And then he's got like a gong or something. He's like, it's over. Okay, why is the interaction with the staff important according to a former prosecutor? Okay, let's see. She testified about interacting with several of Combs's assistants and staff and their relationship. It's important It's an important part of the government's effort to prove that Combs engaged in racketeering, according to former prosecutor. Okay. Let's see. A former prosecutor said Victoria's testimony helps paint a picture for the jury of an organization of people who work for Diddy who might have been involved in some of the allegations. Okay. Combs is pleading not guilty. We know that. Okay. She said Ventura can identify instances where she witnessed other people working as agents for Combs and doing things on his behalf. Okay, that's all part of the racketeering. Okay. Here are some of the things she said about Combs' staffer so far. If Combs disapproved of her, he had his staff take her belongings. Okay, Ventura testified that in the first 3 years of her relationship with Combs, one of his assistants would regularly help her with her finances. Okay, she said she talked to another assistant on a daily basis, and from everything from scheduling into what kind of mood Combs is in. But I think a big part that that's being left out is she's signed to his label, and it's like I said, it's no different than maybe an athlete being part of a sports organization. They don't want you, especially for, I guess for her, it'd be more important for them to go over her finances, right? Because how these artists work is they get big chunks of money at one point, and then maybe you don't work down the road. So you need someone to come in and help you manage your finances so you don't run out of money. Okay, so that sounds nice. Right? So I'm pretty sure they can say something like that. Um, the taking her stuff thing, I'm pretty sure they could spin it some way because they're saying because later she said she got most of it back if she came to his house. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they could spin it some way. The assistant thing on his mood, that just sounds like a good assistant, and just trying to do their job. So I don't know. Because if I think they need to establish that these staffers or employees are doing something that's out of the scope of what they're supposed to be hired for, right? If the assistant's job is to help you with your finances and they do help you with your finances, then that's just what that person's supposed to do. Like, but if that finance person was like doing something, was like siphoning money from you and moving it here and it goes back to Diddy, then that's something. But like I said, so far she hasn't said anything that I feel like advances the case. Okay, ooh, 18 minutes ago, she breaks down in tears in front of the stand. Okay, what makes her break down? Let's see this. Asked what she enjoyed, if anything, about the freakoffs. Cassie Ventura breaks down in tears. The time I spent with him, she says. Ooh. She added, it felt like it was the only time she could get with him. I felt disgusting. I felt humiliated. I don't have the words to put together at the time how horrible I really felt. I couldn't talk to anybody about it, Ventura added. Ventura said she she tried to gently bring it up, not wanting any more freak-offs with Combs. I didn't want to upset him or make him angry with me for even sharing it, she said, but I would just treat it lightly. I would tread it lightly when I brought it up. Sometimes I would email him about it. I don't want anything bad to happen, okay? Interesting. So she's saying she brought it up, that she doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. I, I guess if I was a prosecutor later on, I would say like, but did it stop? I don't know. So that's some context we need later on. Okay, this is 18 minutes ago. Ventura says Combs wanted her to call him by her grandfather's nickname. Okay, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. Let's see. Pop pop. Okay, he asked me what I called my grandfather. I said pop pop. Ventura testified. I thought it was weird at the time, and now I feel like it was disrespectful. He called her Cece, which stood for Casey Combs. Okay. This is the latest update 7 minutes ago. When Sean Diddy Combs would get upset, he would be a very scary person and could get violent. Okay. She went to describe what she went on to describe the way she would alter her appearance for a freakoff. Okay, she would get waxed, tanned, her nails done. Her nails would be painted white or white with French tips, per Combs' instructions. Let's see, she would also describe getting piercings at Combs' suggestions. Okay, went to wear see-through netted outfits with extremely high heels. Okay, I mean, that's it so far. That is it. I don't know. So far, from her testimony, I don't feel like there's anything, but we'll see. This is only day 2. This thing is gonna take months. I think the other thing that I want to bring up is I feel like the Johnny Depp case in a way has taken the thunder or the bite out of a lot of these kind of cases that are coming up now because of what happened during the Johnny Depp case of how Amber, in a way, Amber Heard set a lot of these ladies back many years because uh, from reading through her testimony so far and kind of just thinking it through, it, it there's like parts where I'm kind of like, yeah, that's bad, but it's not enough. Like I keep saying, it's not enough so far to prove these things that they're trying to get him on. I don't know. Maybe too early to make a prediction, but just 2 days in, I don't see enough. I don't see the case that they have. Maybe down the road, there's more, because the racketeering stuff, it seems weak. If this is the only evidence that they have so far, but then again, like I said, they're going through months. This case is supposed to last months, but if this is their star witness and what they have so far, it's definitely not enough. They need way more to prove uh, all these things, because I think maybe people forgot that he owns the record label, because she's saying that, oh, he had so much power over her life. Well, yeah, you got with your boss, right? Not only you got with your boss, you got with the big boss, your boss's boss that owns everything. So what did you expect to happen? Because normally in these situations, the girlfriend or wife or whatever will just retire from doing from like being an artist or having that dynamic. Like that's normally what would happen in a normal relationship. Like if you got with the boss, you would retire, so then they don't have that direction in your life, like that power over your career, and you would just like live. But she didn't retire, and she's still trying to make it as an artist. And then what did you expect was going to happen? He's going to have that power over all aspects now, because he's got power over your career and he's got power over your personal life. So I don't know. We'll see what else. I think they're taking another break, so I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back a little bit later to go over this, or maybe some other topics. What's going on today? I guess this is the main thing that's going on today, anyways. So, see you guys a little bit later.